Hi, I'm Bunny, and today I'm feeling very bunny. So let's dive into some bunny videos and explore what makes them so bunny. Welcome to Bunny Month, where it's all bunnies all the time. I'm nervous, and this month I want to spend some time talking about my favorite rabbits both in and outside of FNAF. If you're new here, I primarily talk about Five Nights at Freddy's, but I also delve into the general worlds of analog and mascot horror. Funnily enough, today's video will be my greatest departure from that genre, unless you count my video essay on Garfield as a horror icon, which, though it arguably tanked my growth in the early days of this channel, I still stand by it, and to this day it's still one of my favorite videos I've ever made. But let's stay on topic. Today, I want to introduce you to a series that has gripped my attention with its Y2K aesthetic, dark comedy, and tragic story. The Trepanation of Bunnlops is a series told out of chronological order through Instagram Reels. The story is set in late 90s, early 2000s Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It is based loosely on the real experiences of the creators, Val and Alex, which makes the themes discussed within the story even more heart-wrenching. Before we move forward, I do want to put up a brief trigger warning for themes of domestic abuse, stalking, light body horror, and discussion of mental health issues such as depression. I also want to communicate that this series is labeled as 18+ on Instagram. There is no cursing, but there are some topics discussed that may be disturbing for some viewers. Those mentioned before, and those I won't be discussing in this video, but they are listed as trigger warnings in those respective videos on the channel. While I know I regularly discuss darker topics, this is one many of my viewers may not be familiar with, and I want to give you the opportunity to make an informed decision before continuing. I won't be showing any full videos here, only images, so if you want to see the story for yourself, I highly suggest following @Bunnlops on Instagram. We are first introduced to our main character, Bunnlops, in a warning video stating to leave on bandages after a procedure for at least 7 hours, followed by an image of Bunny with the bandages removed, exposing a hole in his head, and the text, "I'm just too impatient." No time is wasted getting right to the point of what this series is about. Bunny has undergone a procedure called trepanation. This is the process of drilling a hole into one's skull in order to alleviate pressure on the brain or enter a permanent state of euphoria. In the next handful of videos, we see Bunny wearing a big smile, saying or doing something creepy. He is accompanied by a new character, BB, who doesn't seem fazed by his behavior. In other reels, we're introduced to Rip, Bunny's zombie boyfriend, who he claims to have killed. BB still appears unfazed, leaving the viewer properly wondering what in the world they're watching. Like I said, this is a story told out of order, and I think it's a story best told that way. We're dropped right into the inciting incident and aftermath of Bunny's trepanation before we really know who he or these other characters are. It feels organic, like meeting a stranger and making a choice to either walk away, aka scroll on to the next video, or to stick around and get to know Bunny. And to me, that uncomfortable, uneasy feeling is a great reflection of what might be going on inside of Bunny's mind. I also believe this non-linear structure allows the viewer to drop in at any time and have roughly the same experience as someone who was there on day one. Every video is its own vignette into these characters' lives, or you may just come across a non-canon post like this that just endears you to Bunny as a character and makes you want to see more. I personally came into this series a little bit later in the story, but I won't get ahead of myself. We have a number of other characters to introduce. The first time we see Angel, Bunny is asking him to get in a meat freezer. It's very clear that post-trepanation Bunny does not like this man. And putting the pieces together from another reel featuring this new character Angel, it seems safe to assume that he has a connection to Bunny's friend, BB. Now, based on this one reel alone, it seems Angel and BB are the chill stoner type of couple, and it's clear from BB's behavior towards Bunny that she is a kind of caretaker for him despite them being the same age. We also see glimpses of Rip pre-zombification and get confirmation that he was, in fact, Bunny's boyfriend, but he has since passed away. While we don't know much about Rip yet, it's clear Bunny really cared for him, which begs the question, why does he speak as if he's responsible for Rip's death? Well, before we get answers to those questions, the story takes a detour into Bunny's childhood. We learn that BB and Bunny were childhood friends, and we get more scenes of Bunny and Rip getting to know each other. There's also a hint of Bunny's experience with being bullied, and it becomes clear that the other people BB hangs out with are of questionable character. Some of these flashback reels show BB acting kind towards Bunny, while others make her seem like a bully herself. Things start to click into place when we learn that BB and Angel began dating when they were all in high school. Angel, despite his name and initial facade, is aggressive and apathetic. Bunny watches as his only friend outside of Rip is mistreated by her partner and doesn't really know how to help. It's clear that BB is stuck in a negative, toxic pattern with her boyfriend, and it's possible that this is just affecting her ability to be a friend to Bunny. Though at times intense and dramatic, these are relatable high school issues. The people around you are searching for themselves and change drastically in the process. In Bunny's case, he just wants to be a good person and friend. He wants to make people happy, but he doesn't know how to handle when he's hurt by those same people. He seems to have trouble setting boundaries, not wanting to hurt anyone's feelings while neglecting his own self-care. The only person we see being truly a positive influence on Bunny's life is Rip. Even during reels where he's a zombie, we see him showing care for Bunny. And even though Bunny is disturbed, he seems to be acting the closest to normal in these moments. This makes it all the more sad and haunting when we get vignettes of Bunny's grief after Rip is gone, searching for ways to bring him back, unable to accept that his death is permanent. Around this time, the series introduces us to a new character, Fife. Chronologically, this is when Rip is still alive, the characters are in high school, and Bunny and Rip are dating. Fife loves Bunny, or at least the idea of Bunny, and has an unhealthy obsession despite seeming to have a partner himself named Titch. Titch, if anything, appears to be a placeholder for Fife as he pursues Bunny. And while at one point they may have had a better relationship, Titch appears to only be attached to Fife out of fear and potential codependency. Now, I won't speak much more on Titch and Fife's scenes in this video because I don't want to give away every twist and turn the plot takes, but just know that Titch's story was a big part of why I got sucked into this world. What I will say is that around this same time, it's revealed that Angel is the one responsible for introducing the process of trepanation to Bunny and others. And slowly but surely, it all comes together. Now, I'm going to go out of upload order for the rest of this because I really think you should watch it yourself to get the full effect, and it's frankly easier to explain if I just go in chronological order. So this is your last warning, your last chance to go watch it for yourself before I truly start getting into spoiler territory. We learn Bunny comes from an abusive home and truly relies solely on Rip for emotional stability. After the two graduate high school, they move into a place together, away from the families that they have strained relationships with. However, bills are piling up, and it's clear Rip is suffering from depression from the financial burden of being young and poor and all on his own. Bunny seems more naive to the trouble he and Rip are in financially. And while at this point, it still has not been revealed exactly what happened to Rip, we know at some point he passes away, and Bunny feels responsible. We do know, due to the creators confirming, that he wasn't responsible. But nonetheless, his sense of stability is gone. He can't go home, his friend is totally consumed in a toxic relationship, and he feels truly alone. BB has a similarly tragic upbringing to Bunny, and it is the reason the two were able to bond as children. BB wanted to help Bunny, and they stayed friends. But she fell victim to Angel and ultimately ended up going through with a trepanation. And hers went great, at least as far as she's willing to admit. She is the one who told Bunny it made her feel better, and maybe it would help Bunny too. Angel did BB's trepanation, and he apparently has a history of performing these procedures, learning how from his parents. But Bunny wouldn't trust Angel, so we are still left with the question, did Bunny perform his own trepanation, or was it forced upon him? Bunny's trepanation went horribly wrong, and he won't ever be the same. He hallucinates Rip as a zombie, trying to cling to the one sense of stability he once had. BB, feeling guilty over the advice and potentially realizing how distant she'd grown, decides to care for Bunny. Or at least she does her best. Bunny's kind of a handful. And she also starts to confront the reality that she's in an abusive relationship. Two friends pulled apart and then stitched back together under strange and unfortunate circumstances. This is not where the story ends, but it is where I leave you. If you want to know how Fife's obsession and Titch's reluctant compliance weave themselves into the stories, I urge you to check it out. This is an ongoing series with mysteries and people's pasts still left to be explored. And while the backdrop of understanding that the creators' real-life trauma informed their creative vision for this series is heartbreaking, I find their storytelling brave and visceral. Though told purely through images and short animations, the nostalgic aesthetic and thoughtful soundtrack effortlessly pulled me in. The amount of characterization that Val and Alex are able to bring within the time constraints of a reel is impressive. And despite the lack of voice acting, you feel every emotion along with this cast of tragic souls. I know their goals are to fully turn the trepanation of Bunnlops into a voice-acted series, but I am grateful to have tuned in during this early silent film era, as the style adds a level of atmosphere and eeriness that I really have enjoyed. I hope I've convinced you to check out this channel, and if you don't have an Instagram, they do have a TikTok and a YouTube channel as well, but the entire series isn't uploaded to any platform outside of Instagram. It would mean a lot to me if you would show your support to these creators, and if you do see them on TikTok, make sure you're following the channel at Bunnlops, because they do have a copycat who's uploading their videos without permission and removing any watermarks they add to them. I will have all the official links in the description of this video. Thank you all so much for letting me talk about a new series, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Bunny Month continues next week with an analog horror series, and I'd love to hear your guesses for which bunny you think I'll be covering next. As always, don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to become a part of the nervous system. I upload videos every week and go live on Wednesdays and Fridays usually, so turn on the bell notifications to be notified when there's new content. But if you can't wait, there are videos on the screen right now just for you. Okay, bye! The nostalgic aesthetic and thoughtless, Jesus Christ.